All right, deep breath, hit record. My name is Evelyn Ward. I'm 67 years old. I have 2 bad knees, 1 stubborn heart, and a softness I used to mistake for weakness. Tonight I'm going to tell you how my own daughter left me out in the cold, and how I learned to make the cold work for me. If this finds you, tell me where you're watching from. And subscribe if you want more stories like this, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a reckoning. I built my life around family. Sunday roasts, hand-stitched quilts, Christmas stockings with everyone's initials, even the dog. When my husband Arthur died of pancreatic cancer, the house we'd poured 39 years into turned into a museum of absence. I sold it. Packed up the crockpot, the photo albums, the ghost of the man who still called me Evie Girl when the morphine made him young again. My daughter Lena said, "Mum, come stay with us until you figure things out." Her husband Trent didn't say much. He never needed words to deliver a message. You know the type, the kind of man who can make a room feel smaller by sitting in it. I tried to be easy. Quiet shoes, tiny steps. I cooked. I folded laundry with the corners crisp the way Arthur liked. I kept to the back room where the window looked out on the dumpster. I babysat my granddaughter when they needed. Little Nora with her moon cheeks and milk-drunk smile. And I told myself, this is temporary, this is family, this is love that doesn't ask for receipts. It began with small cuts. Trent changing the channel while I watched the weather. A heavy sigh when I lingered too long at the sink. A mutter I pretended not to hear. Charity case. I looked at Lena for a word, any word. She'd push a strand of hair behind her ear, eyes on her phone. "He's stressed, Mom." The market's brutal. The night it broke, I'd made chicken pot pie. The pastry bubbled gold. The table was set. I'd even put a little parsley in a glass, like a poor woman's bouquet. We sat. The silence felt loud. Trent said, "So, how long is this arrangement?" "Arrangement?" I asked, like I hadn't heard the venom under the vowels. "You don't work. You don't pay. Bills don't pay themselves." I looked to my daughter. To my daughter, she didn't meet my eyes. "Mum, maybe it's time to find something more stable." Stable. Like I was a horse. I didn't argue. 67 teaches you that some fights are expensive and pay nothing. I stood, folded my apron, went to the back room and packed 2 suitcases. If you've never fit 47 years of living into 2 suitcases, I don't recommend it. I waited on the curb. The January air bit my knuckles until they swelled red like berries. No one walked me out. No one pretended. I watched their apartment window flicker blue from the TV and learned what it feels like to be erased while still breathing. I found a motel where the wallpaper peeled like sunburn and the vending machine ate my quarters with a metal cough. I lay on the stiff bed and listened to the couple next door argue about a baby name. I cried without noise, the old woman kind of crying, where your body remembers you were once a girl. The next morning, I texted Lena, "I love you. I understand." There was no reply. Days blurred. I am a grandmother who knows how to sweep a floor so the dirt doesn't feel shame. I am a widow who knows that grief arrives in waves but bills arrive in envelopes. I filled out applications. Grocery greeter, front desk, cafe cashier. The managers smiled with their mouths, not their eyes. "Overqualified," they said, which is the polite way of saying, "Too old for us to explain to corporate." I rationed my meals. Crackers with peanut butter. Soup stretched with water. I stretched myself too across the mattress seam where the springs make their case. One night, rummaging through the one box I'd brought that wasn't clothes, a box of paper lives, I found a small leather diary I didn't recognize at first. My mother's. I hadn't seen it since we cleaned her apartment after the stroke took her words. Her handwriting was neat, stubborn, all loops and caution. At first, it was nothing. Tomato prices, a hymn she liked, complaints about the pastor's wife. Then, June 12th, 1967. He came again. Says he wishes things were different. Says he loves me in the wrong century. Says he cannot give me his name but will not leave my child with nothing. I told him I don't want his money. He said it isn't his money, it's her future. R says Mr. BC will make the arrangements with a lawyer. Evelyn must never know. God forgive me. I read it twice, then 3 times, the letters tilting under my tears. Mr. BC. Another entry. Adler knows. In case of his death, there will be a letter. I trust her. I have to. Adler. It took me 2 days on the motel computer and a prayer, but I found her. Ruth Adler, retired estate attorney, still listed on a faded website with a photo that looked like it remembered better cameras. I wrote a letter with my cramped, shaking hand. My name is Evelyn Ward. My mother was Carol June Porter. You may not remember her, but she wrote that there was a letter for me. The phone rang 2 weeks later. Evelyn, a voice said, fragile as onion skin but steady. I've been waiting for you for 49 years. I took a Greyhound to Dallas with a suitcase and a sandwich. Ms. Adler's office smelled like lemon polish and old victories. She slid an envelope across the desk. The paper yellowed like it had slept in sunlight. My name on it. My real name, not the name I married into, not the name I scrubbed on checks. Evelyn June. Inside, a letter. I was a coward in life. Let me not be one in death. You are my blood. This is what I can give you for all I could not be. BC. Attached. Account statements, a modest portfolio, 2 small property titles, numbers that made my mouth go dry. It wasn't the kind of money men throw on boats. It was the kind of money that buys a door with a lock and 2 keys. I cried quietly for the girl my mother had been, for the men who loved her in the dark and talked about honor in the light. For myself too, because my life, it turns out, had a secret spine. I didn't go back to the motel. I rented a small condo near South Congress, a place with clean baseboards and a kettle that boiled without complaint. I cut my hair into something braver. I bought 2 suits that said "Mom" and "Don't try me" at the same time. I learned new words: escrow, amortization, lien. I learned the old ones anew: dignity, boundary, no. And then I saw it, buried on a county auction site, a 12-unit building in East Austin, distressed, the owner behind on taxes. You know where I'm going with this? Of course you do. It was their building. The one with the green awnings and the lazy elevator and the courtyard where little Nora took her first steps while Trent shouted into a Bluetooth about quarterly benchmarks. I created an LLC, June Street Holdings, because names matter. I moved money with clean hands through clean channels. I bid, and I won. I did not buy it to break them. I bought it so no one could break me again. The letters went out, rent reassessment to market rates, inspections scheduled, maintenance upgrades listed. Trent's first email came 20 minutes later, subject line, absurd. It bled arrogance and ignorance in equal measure. We've been loyal tenants. This is robbery. He signed it with his full name like that was currency. I forwarded it to the property manager. Please reply with clause C regarding market adjustments. No exceptions. For a month, I said nothing. That was the lesson the world had taught me. Silence is a blade, if you learn where to hold it. Lena's first call came 2 days after the letter. I let it go to voicemail. Hi, Mom. Our rent just got... There's been a mistake. Could you call me? I held the phone to my chest until it warmed my sternum. Then I set it face down. I saw Lena at the grocery store a week later, 2 aisles over, comparing the price of name-brand Mac and cheese to the generic. She put the brand back. She rubbed her sleeve across her cheek. I followed her cart with my eyes and my restraint and bought 2 boxes of the kind with the neon powder for myself, just because I could. Upgrades began. New locks, hallway lighting, safer stairs, extermination. Tenants thanked us. Trent didn't. He left notes. Water pressure sucks. Trash schedule is a joke. Who owns this dump? I nearly answered with my maiden name. The intercom buzzed one evening. Hi, this is Lena Harmon. Does Evelyn Ward live here? I pressed the door release and stood there with my hand on the knob, counting my breaths like rosary beads. She looked smaller. That's the thing grief and guilt do, the two killers the law won't name. She sat on the far end of my couch, holding her teacup like it might scald away a memory. "I thought I was keeping peace," she said, "when we asked you to leave." She said asked, like she didn't remember the trajectory of her chin that night. I said nothing. There's a threshold you cross as a mother, the day you realize your silence is the only language your child can hear. "I miss you," she whispered. "I don't know how to fix it." "You don't," I said softly. "You decide who you are. And then you live like it." She left with red eyes and a folded napkin in her fist. I sat in the dark afterward and let the kettle scream. The building meeting was scheduled on a Tuesday. Mandatory attendance, questions welcome. I wore a charcoal blazer and flats that did not slow me down. The common room filled with tenants and complaints and curiosity. And then he arrived. Trent, with his swagger, with his girl trailing him, a shadow with my cheekbones. "Where is the owner?" he demanded. The property manager gestured to the front. "June Street Holdings would like to address everyone." I stood. A few tenants blinked. One older man smiled like he'd been waiting for the magic trick. "Good evening," I said. "I'm Evelyn." I own the building. The room went silent the way churches do after the last hymn. Trent's face, oh, how it tried not to crack. "You?" he scoffed. "This is a joke." "No," I said. "This is paperwork." He stepped forward. "You raised our rent." "You targeted us?" "I raised everyone's rent to market rate. I improved the property. I treated you like any other adult. That may feel like targeting if you're used to special rules." Lena's eyes glossed. The man from 3B clapped once, then remembered himself. Afterward, tenants brought me questions. Quiet, practical, grateful. Trent waited until the room emptied, his jaw working like he chewed nails. "You've made an enemy," he hissed. I tilted my head. No, I recognized one. Lena's voice, small, wrecked. "Chad." She caught herself, shook her head, corrected herself with a tremble. "Trent, stop." First time I'd heard her tell him no in years. It fell between us like a stone that finally understood gravity. He left a letter under my door 3 days later. No return address. "I know your little secret. The man who paid you, the lawyer. I'll tell the world I forwarded it to my attorney. The cease and desist that returned to him carried more exhibits than a county fair. His fake emails to the title office, his threats to the property manager, his tampering with shared utilities to prove sabotage. We didn't need to press charges. Teeth showed just fine behind a closed mouth. Lena came again in the rain, the bag of groceries held like armor. "He followed me to work," she said. "He went through my phone." "He thinks I'm part of this." "Are you?" I asked, but gently. "I'm part of you," she said. And for a moment I saw the girl who handed me fistfuls of dandelions and called them son. 2 days later, "I've left him," she said on my doorstep, mascara like bruises. "I changed the locks while he was at the gym. I don't know who I am without him, but I'd rather find out than keep disappearing." I made her eggs and toast and the kind of soft silence that holds. She ate without appetite, the way we do when we're feeding a future instead of a hunger. Then came the last letter from Miss Adler. "Congratulations, Evelyn. All transfers complete. Your lawsuit resolved. You may hold, sell, or restructure." I held the paper to my chest and felt my mother's hand beneath it, all those years of love that had to hide in footnotes. I sold the building in the spring, signed my name with the calm of someone who knew exactly what it meant. No parade, no champagne, just a wire transfer and a woman who had finally stopped apologizing to furniture when she bumped into it. Half of it went to a shelter for women and children, the kind of place I didn't know existed the night I stood on the curb with 2 suitcases and a broken phone. I asked them to name a wing after my mother, the June house, because the month in her diary became the month I was born again. The other half bought me a small blue house on a quiet street with a tired oak and a porch swing that complains in a friendly way. Cedar Park. The circle closed without fanfare, just a key that turned smooth like it had been waiting for my hand. Lena helped me move. She didn't say much. We stacked boxes labelled kitchen and photos and who I was. After the last load, she sat beside me on the swing. I didn't become that woman overnight, she said. No, I answered. You chose peace over truth until peace turned into silence. Then silence turned into harm. I did that once too. We ate grilled cheese and tomato soup. She burned one. We laughed like a window opening. Trent posted a few rage-vague messages online. Betrayed by family. Landlord mafia. Truth will come out. My lawyer's second letter walked him to the edge of a cliff called Consequence and showed him the drop. He signed an NDA with hands that had once pointed at the door and told me to use it. My granddaughter visits now. Nora loves the porch swing and the tomatoes that pretend to grow just for her. She calls me Grandma Evie and asks for stories about when her mother was a little girl. I tell her the ones with mud pies and sprinkler rain and the time Lena tried to keep a ladybug as a pet and cried when it wouldn't eat lettuce. One night after dishes, after bedtime kisses, after the quiet settled like a cat in the good chair. I took my mother's diary from the drawer. I slipped a note inside for Lena to find one day, folded clean. You don't need their permission to be worthy. You don't need their approval to be strong. When the cold comes, remember, you were born with a furnace. I set the kettle on and let it sing. I forgave my daughter. Then I forgave the woman who let them put her on the curb. That was the harder one. People think I burned it all down. I didn't. I just learned to stop handing out matches. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to an old woman tell the truth with both hands. Comment where you're watching from so I know who's out there. And subscribe if you want more. I didn't win by shouting. I won by becoming the kind of quiet they can't ignore.